top drops. Yeah, because you're doing terrestrial navigation. If you're doing celestial navigation, if you're using a celestial, it doesn't matter how much you go up, the celestial doesn't drop. It continues up. That's the
Yeah.
difference. Don't ask me why or how. That's how we know how it looks like. But is it like that? It seems to be. Is it? You know.
Oh, listen, I
You
would
know what
never
I'm
have
trying to
taken
say?
up
Yeah.
this. I would never have taken up this discussion if I didn't hear what I thought I heard. But okay, if
Yeah.
somebody said hearing different than it was
If
said, then
somebody says,
just
if
oh,
somebody said that, doesn't mean that we all need to say the same.
oh, okay.
Exactly, that
Thank you.
too.
Okay, I feel a little bit better now. Okay, I
Are you
hear you.
feeling a little bit?
So,
Just
We
because you
still
say
didn't
something,
concede
you
that
want all of
anyone
us
here
here in the
said
room
it.
to be saying the same thing. Yeah.
We still didn't
oh,
concede that someone here said it, humble. It's still put to
sorry.
you the same way it's still put to you the same way I put it to you. We didn't. No one's conceding that you heard it here for sure. You might have heard it the way you thought you heard it.
Did you hear any statement close to that? And can you clarify what was actually said for me then?
I mean, you came in here and said that you heard someone here say that the sky was measured flat, and then we corrected you.
So you're saying that that statement was not made?
It seems to be only. It is running parallel to the surface. But what the sky is and what it's doing, we don't know. Do we? I don't know.
Okay.
But no, on the
No, this
point,
is
yes, I don't know.
No
Maybe you heard
problem.
wrong. I don't know what you heard,
okay.
but we
That's
just
fine then.
explained it
Yeah.
to you.
So
We
I
just
won't
explained it to
continue.
you.
I won't
Yeah, we just
continue the
explained
point
it to
then.
you.
I
Lovely.
won't continue it because I thought we all heard the same thing. That's the only sub reason
Yeah,
that
lovely.
the discussion
You
would
get
make
it
any
now, though,
sense.
right? About how the surface is measured flat, and then the sky operates parallel to the surface. No one claimed that we measured the sky flat. You understand now, though, right?
But you measured it parallel, which flat and
No one
parallel
measured it
seems to be
parallel.
the
It
same thing.
operates parallel to the surface, which is measured flat. You seem to not understand or listen.
Well, why can't I take the box that 10th man made as saying that it measures parallel?
Oh, so now someone specific said it.
Neil, can you hear me?
Oh, okay. If we can't agree on stuff that was actually said here,
I
then
mean,
yeah,
just
maybe I'm just hearing a
did you
different
clip it?
thing than you
Did
are.
you
So
clip
I'll
it?
stop here.
Did you clip it? Was
Hmm?
it in the text chat? Was it in the text?
Neil, can you hear me? Neil, I need to do sound checks. I've had a Windows update. I could really do with your help and actually help me out. Tell me that you can hear me.
I'm sorry, I'm busy. I can hear you.
But if you're saying
Yeah, he
I'm
didn't
hearing
even agree the first. He
something
didn't agree the
different,
first time. He explained it to you the first time. You ignored it and asked him again if we measured the sky flat. You ignored it. That's what happened.
okay, that's right. Okay, I've been reproved. Thank you. Okay, I won't
Lovely,
frustrate
lovely,
anybody. Thank you.
lovely. No
Okay,
one's
Humble, you're
frustrated.
still going
We like
around
you,
the
humble. We
co-altitude
like
angle, man. Those are
I
terrestrial
beg your
measurements.
pardon.
You're still going about the co-altitude angle. Those are Earth measurements, ground measurements. The co-altitude angle is a surface measurement. The co-altitude is what is going to give you the distance in miles. The co-altitude times nautical miles will give you the distance in miles. But that is on the ground. That is not in the air, if you know what I mean.
Okay, I'm sorry, but I'm listening to something totally different than you are. So I'm willing to take the fall for hearing wrong, but I'm hearing uh, people make basically rectangles in order to get those angles.
Yeah.
And so if you're not hearing the same thing, George, that's fine.
Yes, I
I don't
am.
want
I am listening the same thing, but not the way you're listening.
no, somebody else can bring up something else. That's fine. I just thought if I start with things I heard, but obviously my hearing or comprehension is wrong. So I'm willing to take that, and because the stuff is recorded, I can go and find the recording, listen another couple of times,
Please do.
straighten
Please
out
do.
my own hearing.
All right. All right. I think the show's
Okay.
about to start. Go humble. Good conversation.
Sorry?
I think the show's about to start. That was good conversation, though. I like it. You're cool.
Okay. Okay.
But Humble, you have a specialist in the channel. Danny is here. You can ask him. He's an astronomer. I should know. No, the one that they're asking the question? It's just me that you ask those questions. You don't ask those questions to nobody else.
Ask him, Humble. Danny, Danny your question, Humble. He's pretty good.
Oh, oh no, I thought I was invited to be quiet because the show was about to start.
Well, he hasn't started yet, so till he does, you could ask Danny.
Good morning, Mr. Faulkner. Oh,
Yes.
okay. That's. Oh, hello.
He said yes
Go on,
earlier,
Humble.
Humble.
Oh, it's my turn? Okay, sorry. I was just listening for a response. Oh, no, I don't have anything that I heard Mr. Faulkner say that I'm prepared to discuss right now. My question for him as a curious biblical flat earther was the account in the Bible about the flood. I believe it indicates that the water came up above the mountains. Would that affect the ability of gravity to hold that much water if it's a complete water ball?
I don't like it.
I don't think I understand the question.
The
What's
Bible
gravity?
indicates that the waters that had covered the earth was above the mountains.
That's what's recorded in Genesis 7:19 and 20. So what's your
Yeah,
question?
would our current understanding of from your side of gravity allow that much water to be held to the surface on a
Oh, I
round
think you're,
earth?
yeah. I think you're assuming that the mountains we have today are the same mountains that existed at the time of the flood, and it's generally our position that they're not the same mountains. The mountains we have today were thrust up in the later stages of the flood and afterwards.
Could we agree that a significant amount of water was added to the earth at that point, or you wouldn't agree with that?
I wouldn't necessarily agree with that. There's a tremendous amount of water on the earth today.
Okay. So none was added. Okay, fair enough. I got your understanding. Thanks.
He didn't say that.
Yeah.
Danny.
How are you doing, Danny? Humble, how are you doing, Humble?
Who's this guy? Hello,
What's everyone
Lofi.
doing?
Oh, is that Lofi?
Yeah.
You've got a horrible clicky
Yeah.
mic.
No,
Or
I
low.
usually go on mute when I see Nathan's thing come up, so I'm gonna go on mute. Okay,
Yeah,
bye.
Nathan trying to speak.
I was just saying that
Oh, my
Lofi
bad.
guy's got a horrible clicky mic. Clicking.
He was probably trying to tell you, Lofi, you're hot micing, bro, or whatever you're doing. You're making noise, bro.
Yeah, humble. You want your question was, does the sky measures to be flat? I'm ready to tell you yes, it measures to be flat, parallel to the surface, flat.
Okay.
Yeah. Have a follow-up question?
Okay. Okay. So does that the fact that you can make that statement and hold to it, does that make the sky flat?
I just told you. It measures like that, parallel to the surface.
Right. So measurement means that you can impose flatness on it. Okay, so the earth is measured flat, right? But it doesn't necessarily have to be flat.
Who
Oh,
said that?
really?
You are saying that. The earth measures flat.
So you're saying then the sky is definitely flat.
You didn't hear his
No.
explanation earlier, Humble, about how.
No, please, please, I'm just talking to George. Please,
Okay,
and
sorry,
I'll just
sorry.
drop
I'm
out.
sorry.
If I,
I'm
Freak of
sorry. You
you.
didn't hear it
yeah.
earlier, so he'll repeat it. You got it.
No, he just came in and confirmed the statement to me, please.
Okay, you're right.
Yeah.
Humble, you're disingenuous and we have no
So,
time for you.
okay, have a good day. I'll talk later, George.
Waste your time with that freaking moron. Come on.
George, I could have swore you said we don't know what the sky is, so we can't. I could have swore you said that
Correct.
multiple times.
Yes. Yes. We don't know what the sky is.
We say it appears that the sky is flat.
It's
It
measured.
appears that way.
No, it's
That's
measured.
exactly what
George
he
has said it
said,
about
Neil.
5
He said
times.
that.
You keep saying it's measured flat. It is. That's how we deal with it.
And what's the question for anyway? Where's you going to go from there?
I don't know, but you're very defensive.
Well, I was hoping Danny Faulkner would back up this information. He's the expert on the field.
It just sounds
He's the
like
one
he
looking
wanted
at the
to.
stars and looking at the lights in the sky and measuring them and naming them. So he should know the measurements.
Oh, I bet he's going for distances again. The freaking lights in the sky, like that means anything to us.
It just sounded like we measure the earth flat. We can imply that we can measure the sky flat, but it's not necessarily flat because we can't definitively say that. So we could do the same with the earth. It sounded like that's what he tried to do.
Gotcha. So what he's saying is because we
Yeah,
can't go
they're
up and
avoiding to use the surface of Earth.
because we're not
Sorry, mate.
using the sky as a surface. He's saying that as a juxtaposition, we can't say the surface is flat if we can't say the sky is flat. Is that where he's going with that, do you think?
Yep.
Get there all he likes. I don't care. It is what it is.
What he's saying is, if the ground position of this star is here and the ground position of that star is there, the distance between these ground positions would be the same distance that the stars have between one another. if they are parallel to one another on the surface, the distance should be the same in the sky between stars and planets.
Told you.
I mean, you can say that, but it doesn't have any practical use, does it?
Nope.
Saying that the distance
Well, I
between
don't know
the
if
two...
there's any practical use. I don't see any practical use for it. Maybe it does have one.
Well, the fact that it's being utilised that way is useful for the ground positions. But to say, well, these two ground positions acquired based on where they are below two stars is the same as the distance between those two stars in the sky. Well, you can't get to the stars
You're
in the
breaking
sky.
up bad. You're breaking up bad.
Am I? Me?
Just a lid. I can't seem to get my hands off it.
Sounds good here.
No, it's. I've had a Windows update and it's done all sorts of horribleness to my computer.
Loud and clear
It
now.
can be
Loud
pretty
and
nice
clear.
now.
Yeah, I made a settings change. Almost every setting that I have to input into the show to make it work in terms of audio has changed as a result of a Windows update. Not only that, it knocked out the entire computer at 4 o'clock this morning. So I woke up having had a horrible dream about my youngest daughter being run over, and woke up in a panic. I'm like, oh, and I checked on her. I'm like, oh, she's fine. She's sleeping soundly. So then I went in, checked on the computer, and it's like, oh, you have a Windows update ready for you. So I thought, oh, that's the kind of thing I'm going to have to sit and babysit and make sure it goes through correctly. So I sat and monitored it as it updated. And then when it did, it all crashed and started the blue screen. I'm like, oh, shit. Why? It was working perfectly. And then one Windows update later, everything's failing. So I spent about 3 hours till about 7 a.m. trying to get the thing to actually work, which it finally did. And then I started testing it by playing games. And I think it's a separate issue, but yesterday it had a graphics card update, and that was causing issues yesterday. So I was fiddling around with it yesterday evening, and I just wanted to double check that, having fiddled around with CPU settings, that the GPU would actually work. And it didn't, so that took another couple of hours. And then I had to take my kid to the swimming lesson that she had. And then by the time I got back, I was so physically exhausted, I went to sleep. And that's why the show's late, because I was like, I know I'm going to end up collapsing. So I'll just tell everybody that the show's going to be a couple of minutes late, which it is. Or the live stream will be an hour late.
We pay a lot for these updates.
Yeah. And I think what it had exposed something that I just hadn't considered, right? So, as you know, just to stop it overheating, I've turned down the main big cores in that chip. Well, as it happens, the smaller cores still do require quite high voltage, and they just weren't being taxed by anything. Now, what I think has happened is, with the Windows update, it alters the way things load. So now things automatically load off those little cores. I don't know why, but from what I was watching in Hardware Info, that's what was happening when I was loading stuff up. I'm like, okay, so it's hitting the E cores. Why? God knows. So I thought, okay, so they're obviously just inherently unstable when in use, and I just haven't been using them. That took about an hour and a half to figure out. So then I just turned them down by about half. So I turned them from 3.9, I think they were at, to 2.6, and that solved the problem. You're like, okay, so it must be the case that whatever voltage the VID table's demanding for 5.2 gigahertz isn't sufficient for the E cores at 3.9. Fine, I'll turn them down. So I figured out that was what was causing it to crash whenever it loaded anything. And that resolved the problem. Anyway, pain in the arse, this computer. Every time I do an update on anything, it causes it to fail. And then I end up spending 2 or 3 hours figuring out why. That might not be a...
Computer.
I was going to say, that might not necessarily be my computer. It could be that everybody's computer has similar issues when they get a Windows update.
Computers are the same as air conditioners.
Because...
When you open Windows, they stop working properly.
Yeah. This computer's been alright for the last few months. Since it's stopped overheating itself now, it's just normal computer problems like everybody would get. Anyway, that's all been resolved. But the other thing it did was knock out all the settings for the show. So I started the show, did my intro, opened my mic, started talking, nothing happened. I'm like, oh, great. So then, by then I'm already in Discord and, you know, Discord's functioning, or so it seemed. It was coming through on the wrong line. So I'm like, oh, okay. So it's sharing a line with G+, which is going to cause problems. So then I split those lines, assign them to the correct channels, and then my sound isn't coming through correctly because it's going through a different route via the digital output in the computer, because it's decided to reassign that too. So I'm like, oh, everything's going wrong. Anyway, I think everything's fixed now. Everyone can hear everyone else, right? You can hear Neil moaning.
I can't hear him. Neil, he's still there.
You can hear Craig asking if you can hear Neil moaning in Discord, right?
I can.
Yeah.
Yeah, so everything's working. Glad I left it. I left 40 minutes to sort it out, because I was tempted to I'll just set the live show to start in 10 minutes. I'm like, no, I know better. let's make sure everything works first, which it now does, and I've got 10 minutes to spare. Anyway, that was fascinating. I'm sure you're all delighted to have heard that. Yes, Nathan.
That's what I hear every day.
Say again?
That's what I hear. What we hear every day.
Yeah, it's not every day anymore, let's be honest. You know, it might be once a month.
No, not from you. Not from
what you hear every day. Yes, it's all you hear all day, every day.
But it was working all right yesterday.
It is like that with everything. I think it was the other Craig that was saying it. You're like, yeah, that's entropy, isn't it? That is basically the way of everything that ever has broken in the history of anything ever. It worked, and then it didn't. You're like, yeah, that's how it goes. It makes no sense. No, it makes total sense. That's how things go wrong. 1 minute they're working, the next minute they're not working.
Hard life. Anyway, what's the show for today? What we do? What you're reviewing today? Anything?
I have no idea. I never do. We'll talk about housekeeping questions, and that'll be it. Maybe we'll review a video if someone's got one to review.
You know what I was thinking was, when somebody's trying to ask you a question on how you think it works, and you give them an answer, and they start trying to debunk what you've said or claim that it doesn't exist. I wonder if they've ever done that with the existing information they've been given.
Oh, so by comparison, when they say, how does an eclipse work? And some idiot flat earther starts offering their stupidity as a response rather than saying, I don't know. Would it be fair to suggest that if the same exact person were to put that question to a globe believer, well, how does the eclipse work? And then listen to their nonsense waffle about heliocentric orbital motion and occultation, would it be reasonable that they put the same scrutiny upon that as they would on some nonsense garbage that a flat earther spewed? Well, it should be identical. The standard should be the same. But whatever the accepted rhetoric from heliocentrism is, so long as it sounds vaguely familiar to the person asking the question, they won't question a single word of it. I am familiar with this concept that you have described with occultation in orbital motion. Therefore, this is correct, would be the response I would expect. Not, well, prove it.
Yeah, I had a lady this morning and just mentioned the fact that we have entropy and we couldn't have gas without pressure. And she goes, "Oh, that's all physics. That's physics. It's nothing to do with me." And I said, "Well, how does the gas stay here?" "Oh, gravity." I'm like, "But what is gravity?" As I say, she got triggered and ran away. So there you go.
I like the fact that you left a pause to indicate that that is where the conversation ceased. Because that is the correct question. What holds the gas here? Gravity. What's gravity? End of discussion.
Yeah, she got triggered, ran out the door. That's all conspiracy. Runs off. Yeah, there you go. She has asked
Well-
the same questions about what she knows.
But although,
Well, when I asked,
hold on, just 1 sec. Just want to make a minor correction just for Craig's benefit. So, when she said that's all physics, well, actually no. So, physics as a standard is quite narrow. So, physics is the study of the physical and natural world. AKA, when anybody says that's physics, if it doesn't adhere to the scientific method, then it isn't physics, because that's what physics is. Physics is just natural science, aka the scientific method. Now, when you describe gas dispersion, that's a law of nature as opposed to physics. So, exclusively cause and effect reasoning within the natural world, that's physics. Descriptions of that which occurs always, that's natural law. Not that you said it was her, but just FYI.
I did say it was I felt it was a law of nature. She got triggered at that stage, said physics, and yeah, she wasn't going to entertain the conversation after that.
Yeah, it sounds like Dunning-Kruger deflector shields. When someone like that says, it's physics! Yeah, well, the reason they're saying that is because, like most people who are taught it in school, they understand and appreciate that something that is physics is natural science. Well, therefore the scientific method, therefore empirical. So when she says gravity holds it here, it's physics, what she's doing with that statement is saying, science, therefore proven. That's her punctuation to her claim. I don't need to prove it. It's science, is what she's saying by using one word, physics. So, empirically validated then? No, category error.
It's her spell. Her spell kicked in.
Yes.
Yeah, but gravity is not physics. Gravity is mathematics, isn't it? The
No, no.
pseudo-Riemannian force space is a geometry, mathematics,
Yeah, correct.
not physics.
That's right, but with Craig's response, he gave a natural law. She gave him gravity. Yeah? Well, natural law isn't physics, and neither is gravity. One is a natural law, the other is an invented geometry by Einstein.
well, I asked Humble 10 minutes ago what gravity is, and he said that gravity is, can you use your current understanding of what gravity is?
It's a bent geodesic in an invented dimension. And is not a force.
Yeah, it's a bit embarrassing to say that. So I guess by getting me to think it, they don't have to say it.
So it's a bending and warping of space time, or as I like to call it, the wrapping round of the space blanket. Where's everybody gone? Nathan, you haven't crashed, have you?
There is a video Master B if
Now
you
we're
fancy,
here.
Nathan.
I can hear everybody else, but no Nathan. Either that is passed out.
Talking about the fabric of space-time.
Space blanket.
Yeah, the fabric of space. Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
It's, people have their comforting blankets, so that's why I like to call it the space blanket.
Well, when they demonstrate, they demonstrate with the blanket anyway. The cloth with the ball in the middle and the other balls that you spin them around and then they all meet in the center. Mass attracting mass. I mean, the trick, it's well done. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I've decided a new question for people. Like, when did you first realize you were stood on a space ball? Or spinning round in space, that is. Just get some thinking about when they first decided that, or did they just believe because somebody told them?
The problem is that they have claims about the outer space and what the lights in the sky are or what they're doing. We have no claims in that regard.
Well, are
We
their
don't claim a
claims
distance to
based?
the stars or between stars.
Yeah, but are their claims, when they come forward to you and say that's my claim, is it their claim, or is they just telling you somebody else's claim? Because they don't believe they thought about that themselves. They didn't look up in the sky and make that decision for themselves.
Correct. It's the heliocentric claim.
Let's get it on.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
No camera, and I've got a low bitrate warning from YouTube. How wonderful! I've had nothing but a raft of computer issues this morning, hence we're a little bit late today. They continue into the live stream. No shock there. I'll be fiddling and faffing and pressing buttons. Hopefully, I can get you chatting with some housekeeping questions. Any evidence of the distance to the sun?
I haven't found a tape measure long
God
enough
knows
yet.
what distance. If you're going to infer any measurements to the sun, you're going to need a flat plane for that.
Any evidence of the R value, Earth radius?
Negatives.
You're going to need a flat plane for your radius. Straight line.
What about any scientific evidence of gravity?
Not scientific, no. Pseudo-Riemannian force space is a geometry, not science. Mathematics.
Okay, I'm just asking the live stream chat if the sound is okay. Sounds good, says Jeff. Thank you very much. Where were we? Any evidence of a sky vacuum? Gas pressure without a container?
Well, all vacuums we can demonstrate. It requires a chamber, vacuum chamber. No, can't have a sky vacuum without a chamber.
Okay, we were discussing this in the pre-show, so although it doesn't necessarily come up very often when I'm doing my OMETV videos, the claim that gravity somehow opposes the second law of thermodynamics or gas dispersion in general is something that your average Joe may not put to you, but your staunch globe believer or anti-flat earth defender friends would suggest that this non-force force that you can think of as a force called gravity affects gas behaviour. It doesn't. If it did, then it would fall in line with the description of gas go down, go boom boom, which it does not. So pointing out how gas does actually behave, easily demonstrable, instantaneously debunks all notions of gravity. Gas does not go down. Hello, QE.
Hello.
Long show yesterday that you had.
They've been going that way past few shows, like over 4 hours, like 6 hours, I think.
Yeah, the devil's got you on that 4 hour plus show vibe. No thanks.
You know why?
Because I'm not doing it.
Well, yes and no. You're not giving Brian and Adam enough time to get their 10,000 words out. and each time it's cumulative. So they get on my show and they can't stop talking.
I see. I mean, they could do it being here at this sort of time when the conversation's a little bit dry and I'm trying to warm up everybody with housekeeping questions. But they're not here, are they? I mean, what can I say? You're here, although we're an hour late.
I like this time, by the way. You should make this the time every day.
It's too late for the Australians. 2 o'clock is the only balance where... Say again.
Who cares about Australians, dude?
I care about Australians. I care about people in that general time zone. But it's the only time that seems to be... Yes, if you're an American, you've got to get up pretty early to watch the show. Yeah? 8 a.m., 9 a.m., whatever. Yeah? Fine. Australians, it's the other way around. They've got to stay up pretty damn late to catch the show. But if they're prepared to tune in at midnight, they can catch the show. And then for me, it's absolutely ideal, right in the middle of the day. So I'm happy. If I push it later...
It's just an hour later. It's just an hour later.
It's too late for the Australians. I've just told you that.
An hour isn't going to break Australia.
Shout out to all the Australians out there.
Got out retracted.
Well, there aren't any out there because we've started an hour late. So if they were inclined to wait up till midnight, they've gone to bed now. They're like, I'm not waiting up just in case. Maybe there are some
time zones down there in Australia.
Different time zone. Yeah, it's a different time zone. That's correct. So, it's like that in a lot of places.
They need to fix their time zones because they got longitude lines that aren't making any damn sense. So once they do that, then perhaps we may do the show at that time. But from here on out, it's 9 o'clock in the morning Central Time.
Sure. I mean, when you talk about the southern latitude and longitude grid, it doesn't make sense. And there's plenty of accounts of people with journeys that are taking extended periods that shouldn't when they traverse the south. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not talking about the metaphorical highways in the sky that people follow, because that's what flight paths are. They're following waypoints. They're like set roads, if you will, that they'll travel along consistently for each journey. So it's not like they're getting out their map and going, how do we get to this? No, it doesn't work like that. So you can't really look at the flights and go, oh, well, that validates the Mercator projection, for example. But yeah, the southern celestial sphere is distorted. Now, don't get me wrong, we get exposed to it via a globe with it wrapped around it, but it doesn't alter that it's not accurate. It doesn't work. There's too many times. There's all sorts of problems in the south.
Did Adam get in contact with you? Did he leave you a message?
No, not that I'm aware of, although I've had a bit of a horrendous day today, so... Was he supposed
check
to be?
and see, because I was talking to him about the book last night, and he had a lot of ins and outs and what have yous, and I told him to message you directly concerning his availability for the book for each day this week.
Yeah, I'll check Skype now, see if he has dropped me a message, but not that I'm aware of.
He better have, or he's in big trouble. You're in big trouble, mister, if you didn't do it.
I don't see anything from him now.
Yeah,
he's a busy man. That's no problem. He's a busy man.
It is a problem because he promised me.
Maybe we'll do it after the show today if he's around. We'll see.
Oh, no, we won't.
Not today.
Uh-uh.
Or maybe tomorrow then.
Tomorrow was, he had some scheduling issues, but tomorrow seemed like the best day. That and Friday.
Okay.
So we'll see. Yep.
Hopefully we're back on track on Friday for politics being that little bit more organised. I've yet to ask them to change the title of the room, so it's not just my name above the door. It's Nathan Oakley and FED panel.
Did you hear that Flatsy said she was in politics, and I don't know when, but Planet Peckerhead, the Peckerless Peckerwood, showed up in there one day, and everyone was calling him Peckerhead, and he left.
That's amazing. Is
Not
it?
really.
Can we get the recording up?
I don't know if QE's put this onto his channel in any form yet, but he was discussing evolution with Kent Hovind, and it was an interesting enough discussion. It's not really my specialist area, so it held a little bit less intrigue for me, but it was still more than anything, or more noteworthy than anything, was how terrified he sounded. So you could physically hear him shaking. I'm not exaggerating either. Go and listen to him discussing evolution. That's Planet Peterson with Kent Hovind, and you'll hear the sound of true fear. You can hear it. It encompasses every word that crosses his lips. Just listen to it. I am not joking. It's absolutely palpable. I couldn't bear to listen to it. And I'm not saying that as an exaggeration. It got to a point where I was like, it is so palpable that I'm feeling extended empathy for this guy, for how terrified he is, and I don't like it. So therefore, at a point, it got to a point where I couldn't bear to listen to it. I'm not exaggerating, am I, QE? I had to say, I can't do this. It's driving me nuts because I can feel how scared he is in every word he states.
Yeah, I didn't post it. I haven't. Remember, we were going to do that on the next Ballbusters, and I'm thinking we're going to do that, so it's going to be painful for you. I didn't catch I'm not an audio guy, but I caught it with his nonverbal communication. Remember with his goober flask.
Yeah, I wasn't really looking. Yeah. So while you were playing the video, I wasn't really looking at the screen. I was just listening. Whenever something like that's happening, I tend not to look. I'll sometimes actually close my eyes so I can concentrate on what's being said more closely. So that's just my nature. I'm more intrigued in the audio than the visual. So therefore, his body language, you're right, I remember you pointing it out at various different stages. Stuff that I wouldn't pick up on. No matter how many body language videos I watch, it's just not something I'm attuned to. But certainly tonality of people's voice, timbre, people's throat being constrained, things like that. But that I think that's a throwback to me doing voice and speech in college. So I was trained not to do it. So when I hear it, I've been trained to hear it so that I don't do it.
Yeah, I follow that. I caught that immediately because you were all over it with the voice. You said, listen to him. See, I didn't pick up on it because I'm not attuned to that.
But you saw him constantly taking his little comfort swigs from his bottle, right?
Yes. Yes.
Adapters, they call them in the behavior panel. It's a comforter.
Comfort. Did you say comfort swigs?
Yeah, comfort swigs. They're normally, when they're normally talking about this, they're normally talking about somebody who's on a stand in a courtroom, and they sometimes will position the bottle between the person that's asking them the questions, so that it's like a defensive wall almost that they're putting a that's what they call it, a barrier. So they use it as a barrier between them and the person asking the questions. But more often than not, it's just something to hold on to, instead of rubbing your fingers against your leg. Or some people jolt their leg or jiggle their leg when they're nervous. Yeah. Well, it's a similar sort of thing. If you've got something like a bottle, you can release that energy through that item. So it's a comforter. I know these things because I've heard people talk about them and I can repeat them. But would I have spotted it? No, probably not. But I can verbally repeat what I was told because I can pay attention to things that are said. So I could describe how somebody might visually use something with words, but like I say, probably not actually spot it when it's happening, which is ironic.
Sure. You're good at that. You can pick up your audio focused. I'm well aware of that. And when you said it, that's when I started paying attention to it. So, yep.
There is something to what Nathan said, because the past few days I've been just walking through a forest or whatever, like a trail. And if I thought on something that kind of pricked my conscience, I would grab a tree or a leaf as I'm walking by. And I made note of that. I'm like, wait a second. I've been noticing if I think on something that pricks my conscience, I'll do something like as Nathan says, as a comforter. Whoa, that's weird. But
Are you
anyways,
scared of
that's
the
what I
woods?
observed.
I was going to say bloody hippie.
No, I was
I'm just out in the
no, I was just
woods thinking about stuff. I'm like, are you?
He's afraid of the woods.
No, I'm a wood guy. I grew up in a village and a lot of forest and outdoors, so I love the outdoors.
I don't care where you grew.
No,
I
it's
didn't
just like a
ask you
thought.
where you grew up. What
It's
does
just that if
where you
like I
grew
would,
up
you
have
would think.
anything to do? Look, he's rumpusing me. What does where you grew up have anything to do with your fright of the woodline?
He wasn't scared of the woodline. He's saying when he's thinking about things generally, but in the woods, those two things aren't necessarily connected to one another.
You ever walk through the woods at night?
Yeah, I've camped in woods.
Not you, him.
Anyways, I was just
And?
saying, I was just giving my witness that there seems to be something to what Nathan said, and I attribute it to an experiences that I've had.
I know, it sounded like you spun what I said into being a bleeding tree hugger.
Yeah. Yeah, and he's scared of him.
No, I was,
Did you ever,
QE did that.
have you ever, just to answer a simple question, have you ever walked through the woodline at night?
At the moment, I don't recall one being like the night.
You're scared.
I don't know. That's quite the jump, quite the leap you're making there, QB.
It is.
It's not. You're afraid of the woods. I can tell.
Don't know what this alpha browbeating that you're getting for no reason is.
Nathan.
Yes, Brian.
Hiya, mate. Has anybody caught Banjo's new video today with elevation data?
Oh, really? When you say elevation data, what do you mean?
Well, he's showing a graph of supposed recorded data, and in one of them graphs is elevation data. I've posted it into Discord.
Can someone bash it into Master B for me? Okay, when you say elevation data, like in Google Earth with elevation profiles?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
It's already there, Nathan.
Thank you. Yeah, this is something we were covering 6 years ago, but great. Did you want to tell us more?
Well, I remember Brian going on about
No.
Brian's logic.
No. This is pitch data. It's got Stingray destroyed. This is pitch data. This is not elevation profile data. This is pitch data. Woohoo!
Sorry.
Brian was moaning. Not you, Brian. The other Brian was moaning. Right. Who's picking up on this? This is absolutely gorgeous. Why aren't the flat earthers rallying around this and publishing this and standing by it and shoving it down on the desk in front of globe believers and destroying the globe and proving Earth's measured flat? Why aren't they using it? And he's like, Flat Earth Banjo is always covering flights. Why isn't he covering in Brian's oh so delicate way that he has? And now here we are. It's the first frame of the video. Well done, Brian. Brian's logic, shout out to you. And also,
did Banjo cover it? Did Banjo cover the pitch data?
It's the first frame of the video. So I'm thinking, yeah.
Really?
Yeah. It's the first frame. It's on screen now. All I've done is clicked on the link. And there it is. It's from Angels, right? So his video that we covered a couple of days ago, which was titled Stingray Destroyed. Do you remember when we covered that? And he basically went to Stingray with the pitch data, having had a description of nosing down, just not noticing it. And then he slapped this on the desk.
Aircraft pitch. Wait a second. I got a TikTok thing right here. I don't have anything from Banjo.
Well, I've got it. It doesn't matter what you've got. I've got it.
Say again?
I've got it. Doesn't matter what you've got.
Where, it's not in Master B.
It is in Master B. It's the bottom of Master B. Anyway.
I'm in Master B.
Well, while you worry about this admin problem, I'm going to do my call to action. So, please let Flat Earth Banjo, his actual full title name is Flat Earth, Banjo, USA, Japan and Brazil. That's the full title of the channel, just so it's labelled appropriately as that is actually what it's called. So fondly referred to as Flat Earth Banjo by us if you ever are referring to it. But please let Flat Earth Banjo know at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me with some kind words of appreciation. Now, maybe, although it is me, so I'm going to take the credit, let him know that Brian will be delighted. That is Brian's logic. Will be delighted that he has done this. So he's been seeking not approval or affirmation, but not support either. What's the word, QE? He's been seeking, like when you ask somebody to utilise, we've been describing it as like standing there with a golden gun on a pillow and people just going, meh. And you're like, what? You're being shot at. Take the gun. Just point it at your enemy. What are you doing? There's got to be a word for that. He's not seeking support, is he? Brian's logic, that is.
I don't know what you're talking about.
He's been. I can't think of the correct word for what Brian is seeking. He's not seeking approval.
He's seeking affirmation.
He's not seeking affirmation either. It's not affirmation. He doesn't need this affirming. He knows what it is.
A reckoning?
Yeah, that's kind of. He's been seeking a reckoning from the Flat Earthers. That is to say that they need to take note of what we're about to cover or what Flat Earth Banjo's covered. That's not to say that, although I wouldn't expect this of Flat Earth Banjo, it's not to say that just because the pitch data's on screen, it doesn't mean that the Flat Earther in question can't balls this up entirely and miss the point completely. But with Banjo, I would hope that isn't the case. But from past experience generally with Flat Earthers, it's worth putting that in at this stage, isn't it?
Funny he just used, I haven't watched the whole video here, but just Angels of Light, but not our presentation. Wonder what is up with that. But
that's okay. Fine. I don't care. Brian wants glory and riches, and he absolutely deserves them. But for me, it's like when Brian's putting that theme out there, you should all be behind this theme. Well, I agree. That is to say, you should use this. And in years gone by, I've said, take ownership of these arguments. You don't have to credit me or QE or whoever the arguments come from. It would be nice if you did. But by the same token, if you're winning the argument because you've understood it, comprehended it, and then put it to an opponent or used it as a refutation of an opponent's position, then you own that argument. Now, like I say, it would be nice if at some point we got some credit at some stage, but it's not necessary. You own that argument if you've appreciated it and used it to good effect. Likewise, if Angels has done that and Banjo's picked up on Angels' use of it, it doesn't matter that he's not using Brian's presentation or the Ballbusters presentation. Who cares?
It's more in depth. There'd be a better understanding. But, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I don't doubt it. You know, I would obviously say use our information. It's going to be more information rich. But an example with it being utilised as in how I described it, slapped on the table for a baller, in this case, Dean, Stingray, maybe that's just more appealing. Anyway, should we have a listen?
That shows the aircraft was...
Say again?
I said yes, let's play it.
Yeah, see if it's straight up just Dean, if it's just Angel's video mirrored, then we won't, because we've already covered it.
Flying at the same altitude for 2 hours, flying 500 miles per hour with a positive pitch.
That sound of fear is also in this guy's voice, by the way. Angels, if you're listening. Yeah, you can hear that you're a bit apprehensive, shall we say. There's a little bit of tension in his throat. You can probably just hear it. Now, I didn't say it when we were originally covering it, but as this is the second go around, I don't mind saying it because we have just literally been discussing this. So if it would be remiss of me to not actually point it out, even though he's a guy on our own side and he's winning.
As you can see, this orange line shows the positive pitch of the plane. That black line underneath it is 0 degrees. So you can see for 2 hours, the plane was at the same altitude and it maintained a positive pitch. So it flew 1,000-mile distance with a positive pitch over the Earth, meaning the nose of the plane was tilted up a few degrees. The reason the plane keeps a positive attitude is to maintain altitude and generate lift. Now, if you're flying around a globe, it would be impossible to have positive pitch over 2 hours over 1,000 miles distance and not gain altitude on a globe. You would have to correct for the curvature of the Earth by changing orientation of the plane.
I like how he slipped that in, right? There's like a trifecta of things that leave this argument undebunkable. One of them is the ability to actually be in flight, achieve lift. I like how he dropped it in.
Yeah, and I think your evaluation of his voice is incorrect.
Okay.
He's being very deliberate about it. There's no fear in his voice at all.
Okay, fear's the wrong word. He's got a tight throat. Now, I don't know the reason why. I might have ascribed it, because I did earlier, to fear. But he has got a constrained throat, for whatever reason.
Relative to the curved surface. This pitch data directly shows the contrary. It didn't happen. Planes don't do this in reality. And I'm going to keep using this argument because it destroys the globe, as you're about to see. You can see here,
I don't know if that, like, it doesn't destroy the globe. It proves Earth is flat. A black swan argument that takes a premise that has globe at its origin and then undoes it is an argument that undoes the globe. So a perfect example.
It actually, no, in actuality, it does both at the same time.
Yeah, I don't dispute that. I mean, you could also argue that for the black swan. You could say by inference it proves Earth's flat after the fact. Would you not agree?
No, it proves both. Yeah, because you can't have, if you have two choices and you disprove one, disjunctive syllogism, then the other one therefore must be true.
Yes.
So there's only really two choices. Now, you can get some idiot saying that there's more than two choices, that the Earth can be a dodecahedron and stuff, but that's just silly behavior. So in actuality, you only have two choices.
After the fact, after the demonstration, there is no globe evidence in this chart. In this information, there is nothing referencing, describing, alluding to, or in any way suggesting globe. It is not there. True. Right. No, just hear me out.
But that doesn't render null the fact that I just said.
Yeah, I'm going to include that. In the same way, after the fact, with the black swan, there is a logical step that you can take that excludes sphericity and proves Earth is flat. This is the same. After you have shown and demonstrated the fact that it is flat Earth information, there is a logical inference you can take thereafter that says, therefore, it cannot be curving. You can do that, but it comes afterwards. There is nothing. There's nothing spherical in this. You've got to add it. That's why I'm saying I don't like it, especially in 2024 when we're saying front foot forward. This is a flat Earth proof. Why tarnish it by saying, and that means it can't work on a globe? Well, yeah, it does. It also means it can't work on a bleeding dodecahedron, but there's no dodecahedrons in the example either.
Yeah, true.
Very, very basic. If this plane was flying over a curved surface, it would have to change orientation relative to the ground to keep up with the curvature of the Earth.
And that's true. I'm not decrying that. That is a fact. But it just isn't in the data. I'm just going to put it on screen, right? So what do I mean? I mean, in this graph, nothing alludes to sphericity, nothing suggests sphericity, nothing has got measurements to compare the path to sphericity. It just hasn't got anything to do with a globe in it at all. So therefore you have to insert it.
Yeah, but it's context. He's talking to a globetard. So you have to include the context, right? That makes the message, you're not in a vacuum. No pun intended.
Okay, I'll even add that. Contextually, I appreciate that when you're slapping this on the desk, it's in opposition to somebody who believes that there is Earth curve. So I get how it's being utilised to defend a position of sphericity. But it still isn't there. I'm just saying this is straight up an untarnished piece of flat Earth evidence.
Well, thanks for your input.
Well, it's important. You may say, oh, you're not in a vacuum. Well, no, but one day people won't concern themselves with the idiots that used to think that they were on a ball and how it isn't ball-shaped whenever you describe anything. I get that that isn't the world we live in and the time we live in. Everyone thinks we're on a ball, so the juxtaposition's always necessary, and I get what you're saying. But it doesn't alter what I'm saying, that this has nothing to do with a ball.
It
But
does.
all pilots admit that.
No, it doesn't. Where's... Okay, show me ball on here.
It does because it's contextual. I already explained my position.
Yeah, and I overcame it, did I not? You agreed.
No, you did. You may think you did, and it may help you sleep at night, but
I'm
it
not
didn't
trying to
overcome
get
it.
sleep out of this. It's not that I'm not going to die on any cross here. There's no cross to die on. I'm just stating fact. There is no reference to ball in this. End of statement.
You're like chanting now.
It's just a fact. It is. Well, you tell me where I'm wrong. I'm not wrong, am I? Anyway, let's go on with it.
They do not need to nose down. They do not need to adjust for curvature, simply because the curvature is not there. The FAA trains pilots to assume a flat, non-rotating Earth and to ignore a gravity vector, even in the simulations that they use, because the Earth is flat and non-rotating. Here are several clips of pilots I've debated that admit they don't adjust for curvature and don't need to nose down. How often do you have to adjust for?
Okay, so that little preamble is put together up until now, right? We hadn't heard that preamble. Very good, you know. Yeah, I can be hypercritical of it, but it is exceptional. Brian would be proud. Brian would prefer you used his information flat Earth Banjo and trimmed out a bit with him talking from Ballbusters. But as I say, I think this is just as good.
For the curvature of the Earth.
You don't have to adjust.
You maintain the same altitude around a globe. Is this line curved?
The line curves because we're taking into consideration the curvature of the Earth.
No, we are not, dum-dum. Slap! There it is on the desk. No, we're not. That's how it rolls from now on with this data. It is that simple. Ball believer, yep. We're going around a ball. Flat earther is the data that shows there's no ball involved in this process. End of story. Bye-bye globe. Happy now?
We take it down. We do not need to nose down at all.
Does the aircraft ever need to dip its nose down to account for curvature?
No.
As you can see, a bit of inconsistencies. I debated Stingray, and I told him I got pitch data that shows the plane had a positive pitch for 2 hours for a 1,000-mile distance, and I wanted him to put a plane on his globe and fly around it without dipping the nose. And this is what happened. Yeah, if you have a globe and you want to draw a line at the same altitude around that globe, all the way around it, do you have to curve the line to draw it?
Do I have to curve a line to draw a line around a globe?
At an equal altitude, yeah. Do you have to?
From an external reference point, yes.
Of course you do.
Great.
Slap
well,
it down on the table.
Yeah, why not? Slap! No, Stingray. Just no. There it is. Black and white. And red all over.
The plane flies a straight line.
Oh my God. So here we go. Here we go. So can you see this?
Yeah, I can see that.
That's the ground, and that's going around a globe.
Yeah. It's not moving. Awesome. It's not moving.
It absolutely is. You can see the original camera tilting, which is looking from space.
So it's nosing down around the globe. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, if, get this, if you say that following the surface of the Earth is nosing down, for the sake of that argument, absolutely it's nosing down.
That's just bosh! No, it's not. Earth is flat. That's how we navigate it, measure it, chart it, fly on it. That's how Earth is dealt with. That's how Earth is measured. But if it was a globe, we'd have to nose down. No, we don't, do we? There it is, black and white.
Yeah, but Stingray Dean, he's actually retarded.
Yes, they all are.
Yes.
For the sake of this argument.
Yeah, well, the plane
it's absolutely nosing down, but it's doing this. Yeah, it does this.
Well, the plane doesn't do that in reality. Welcome to Flat Earth.
One more time.
He says it's absolutely nosing down. Slap.
You have to adjust
Welcome to Flat Earth, Uber.
Yeah, that's what this is. When anybody uses this document, That's what they need to be saying. Bosh, welcome to Flat Earth. That's how we fly over Earth. There it is. Don't have to like it. Earth's flat.
You don't have to adjust.
We take it
down.
We do not need to nose down at all.
Does the aircraft ever need to dip its nose down to account for curvature?
No. The plane does do this.
No, it doesn't. And every pilot I've debated admits this, that they don't account for curvature. Like you're showing now, they don't do this.
Mind if I take a little peek in the cockpit? Yeah. Oh, thank you. That's nice. Awesome. Cool, you mind if I ask you a couple questions?
Why did you think it looked awesome? I mean, I've nosed into plenty of cockpits in my time, and every time I look in, I go, my God, that looks awful. It looks like it was laid out by a 5-year-old, and it looks like it's got lots of horrible sharp edges on everything that you'd catch your elbows on and scrape them. The chairs look horrendous. It's tiny. It looks like a horrible place to be. That's my opinion of cockpits in general. They look horrible.
Okay, everybody's leaving here. How long? Just about like the flight of descent. When it comes to the flight of descent, we fly at like what, 3,100 feet, 37? We were at 28,000. 28,000. From the top of the altitude, from the time we hit the runway, it takes about 3 miles per 1,000 feet that we have to lose. Okay. So when it comes to the flight of descent, do you have to compensate for curvature? No. You don't? Nope. Okay. So whenever you land like east to west, do you ever have to like slow down or speed up whenever you land? Depends on, periodically. It depends on wind usually. So. What do you mean depends on wind? Well, it's a function of ground speed. A function of ground speed? Ground speed, right. So like wind in your face, then you're gonna be slower. No, like if you're landing east, and then if you're landing west, right? Would you have to like slow down or speed up due to Earth's motion? No. No? Nope. So Earth's motion has nothing to do with it. So we don't.
Okay. It's worth breaking that down a little bit because they are kind of talking at cross purposes to a certain extent. So
you'll just confuse people. That argument just confuses people. You just slap the pitch data down and end it.
Yeah, getting into an argument about not actual deflection claimed to be globe Earth Coriolis effect.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd be getting into this with the pilot. It is something I've pondered though, so let's just flip that right on its head. I've sat on a plane seat and gone, so does Earth turn underneath us then? Will this be a shorter flight? I have contemplated that while sat in an aircraft, so I can totally appreciate why he'd be asking that with a vague understanding of Coriolis from the sounds of things, right? And why it shouldn't be doing that or doesn't do that. And he's got his affirmation. Yeah. He's seeking the pilot to say, no, we don't account for that. Account for what? The claim is Coriolis. It's only observable from the ground. So regardless of what we would be seeing from the ground if we were on a globe Earth that was turning, as is claimed, this effect that they claim would be us seeing the plane look like it's curving when it isn't. But what's that got to do with the plane? The plane's just flying straight. That's what the plane does. But straight and level is the bit that we'd like everyone to focus on currently because we can damn well prove it. It's in level flight. They're nose up with respect to horizontal the entire time that they're in level flight. Earth is flat. The Coriolis non-effect that we don't observe, getting a pilot to affirm that he doesn't do anything about an illusion that we don't see, I don't know if this is the best argument. But there we go. It's an anti-globe argument, isn't it? It's not very 2024. Don't tell the globers why they don't have an effect they say we should but we don't see, so they can tell you why we wouldn't expect to see it, because that's all you'll end up doing.
Yep.
Don't compensate for the curvature whenever we're landing. We don't do anything, and then we don't do anything when it comes to the motion of Earth. Curvature is. So Earth has to be a level stationary plane, right? Fairly.
Did he say clearly?
I can't hear it.
I want to hear his response. I think he said clearly.
Comes to the motion of Earth. Curvature is. So Earth has to be a level stationary plane, right? Fairly.
Yeah, I think he said clearly. Yeah. It's not that it matters particularly. We can demonstrate it with pitch data. So, you know, an opinion of a pilot, it's like he knows what he's doing, and he knows he's flying straight and level.
Can I ask him a quick question?
Can I just put a little call to action out, right? If you are on one of these flights, yeah, do not ask the pilot about this shit. Leave the pilot to worry about getting you to your destination safely, and don't worry their precious little heads about anything other than that. Just a word to the wise.
You can wait till the flight's over.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. Even these days, I mean, what are they doing? The computer in the airplane is flying the plane.
No, that's garbage. That's
right?
nonsense. No.
For the most part, it is.
No, it isn't. What the?
Yeah, it is.
No, it's moving to waypoints like with GPS. Yeah, okay. So yes, it is to a certain extent moving the plane into certain directions and maintaining level flight and trimming the plane and doing, yes, lots of things are automated. But you definitely need a pilot, if not two pilots. Always.
Yeah. I didn't say you didn't need a pilot. I mean, yeah, all right. I got you.
Sure. Excuse me. Can I ask you a quick question? Of course. You guys account for any curvature of the Earth? You guys fly with the nose down or anything?
It's actually a good question. And these boxes that are here actually do compensate for that. We don't do anything about it. I mean,
okay.
It is in these two boxes you see there.
Oh, because
So the pilot is under the misapprehension that there's boxes on the plane that account for curvature. Bosh! No, your little black boxes don't account for curvature. This is an NTSB document that was accounting for why a plane had a in-flight accident. It's life and death stuff that they deal with on a daily basis, and it absolutely, without question, does not show any accounting for curvature. There are no black boxes that affirm your religious belief, Mr. Pilot.
Whoa. I didn't hear that because it was so low. Was that a pilot that said that?
Yes. Well, it's not on screen. It could be cabin crew for all we know.
Or anything? It's actually a good question. And these boxes that are here actually do compensate for that. We don't do anything about it. I mean, It is in these two boxes you see there. Oh, because they actually do compensate for that.
Really? Because I've read that these guys.
Yeah, I think it is a pilot. He's pointing at boxes. We can't obviously see because it's not on screen. He's doing this surreptitiously.
That's stupid. What an idiot answer. The black boxes account for curvature. That's stupid. Really? How about the people on the plane? Can they sense the drop? Who cares about the black boxes accounting for? Who asked you who was accounting for it? What a moron answer. I'll slap that pilot around. What a doofus.
Just slap the pitch data down. Which one of these graphs is that then?
Then I can slap the pilot.
Then you can slap the pilot. Yeah, I suppose so.
It's actually fly with the nose up.
It is. It's up about anywhere from 1.5 to about 2 degrees.
So you fly with the nose.
Yeah, he cut off the most important word. 1.5 to 2 degrees. What? Degrees with respect to a horizontal plane of reference? Yeah. That would be proving Earth's flat. That statement that you cut off when he said degrees, that statement negates the need for the pitch data by his own admission.
How's that?
Yeah. Not, I mean, 1.5 to 2 degrees is not much.
There it is. 1.5 to 2 degrees is not much. What, not much above a horizontal plane of reference? Proving Earth's flat. But the black boxes, account for it. What do they account for? I don't know, my religious belief in being on a ball. Meanwhile, 2 degrees above horizontal.
But it is up.
So that means there's...
But it is up. You don't have up on a ball, though, do you? You have out on balls, not up with respect to horizontal, perpendicular. No, you don't have that on a ball.
No curve, because you would be fine with the nose down.
Oh, that's yeah. But I mean, it's moving. But that makes sense.
You guys know it's
so
flat, right?
The 7/8.
This guy's out seeking confirmation bias. This is a flat Earth believer. again, me, if I was on this flight now, while I may have suggested that many years prior I have thought about the fact that Earth's not turning underneath us, or that it looks very flat. But these days, I would need no affirmation from the pilot in this regard whatsoever. I wouldn't need to trouble him with it for my own confirmation.
You just tell him what's what.
I wouldn't need to tell the pilot anything. I'd sit on my flight and hope I got some free drinks. That would be it. Because I don't need a pilot to tell me that Earth's not being accounted for its rotation. I don't need a pilot to tell me that Earth is flat. I don't need that. Do you need that? When you get on your next flight, will you go, oh, I must check with the pilot if Earth's flat?
No, but if I had an audience, I'd have to expose them.
Yeah, this is done for TikTok views. Now, don't get me wrong, we're using it so someone could say you're hypocritical. You're using it, talking about it, it's useful to your argument, and yet you're decrying it. Well, I'm not decrying it. I'm saying that for those of you in the know, in the audience now, if you've watched this show long enough, you know Earth is flat. You know how to prove it is measured flat, and therefore I would assume that you didn't feel the need to trouble a pilot and get him in a gotcha like this guy's doing. You guys know. It's important to the guy asking the questions that the pilots know and tell him that they know. That's what he needs to confirm his bias. Me, now I know, I don't need that anymore. There was a time that I did, now I don't, because I know.
Right?
So what's 7.8?
The 787 actually flies flat, though.
Okay, so the 787 flies flat, but you guys fly with the nose up.
On this?
Yeah.
Well, not every single minute, but yeah. If we're accelerating, it's flat, right?
Right.
All the time.
Flat all the time.
So there's nothing being compensated at that.
Never nose down.
Only when we're descending.
Never nose down.
Yeah. I mean,
Correct.
we do come nose down.
When you have to come down.
Yeah.
But if the Earth was a globe, you'd have to be nose down all the time, right?
You're asking.
I think it would be more less nose.
It's not hypothetical. The answer to that question is yes.
Yeah, the answer to that question is yes.
Question. Yeah, it's not hypothetical. It's the answer is yes.
Yeah, if you're traveling around the globe, you'd have to nose down. Yes, would be the correct response. Now, the pilot finds himself on a sticky wicket, so he doesn't really know how to answer, does he? So he's mumbling and stumbling.
You guys are nose up. I appreciate you getting us safer.
Yeah, this guy's just affirmed the actual position to him after that. Yeah, I like this guy, don't get me wrong, you know, as much as I'm moaning about disturbing pilots to affirm your bias, I still like his approach. He's asked the question, so he'd have to be nosing down. And when they're like, mumble, mumble, stumble, stumble, he's like, yeah, you guys are flying flat, aren't you?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, that's flat.
Great night. Thank you. Sorry.
Excuse me, do you mind?
Hey, how you doing?
Very well, how are you?
Good.
So you know how we just took a flight of descent?
Yeah.
So this guy's got the right idea. He's on the ground, no risk of death, pilots are all chill. Now ask your question. You know, we just descended, so that tells me all I need to know. Kudos, brother.
Did you have to compensate for curvature?
No. Yeah.
Why did he laugh? Do you compensate for curvature? Nope. Ha 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 ha. Why is that funny?
Let's do 7 offsuit.
Yeah. So did you just have to compensate for curvature due
You just asked him that and he said no and laughed in your face.
to the flight of descent as we landed just now?
No, not necessarily.
I mean, he got the same affirmation. What about while we're descending? Do we have to account for curvature then? Nope.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much.
You bet.
He got what he wanted and needed. Fair enough, man. Leave it at that. Do you account for curve? No. But do you account for curve when you're descending? No. Oh, well, thank you. I'll get on with my day.
So the pilot just told me that the Earth is flat.
Never confuse education with intelligence. You know, you can have a PhD and still be an idiot. When we were children...
I think that's it. I'll just see if there's any other examples that aren't random TikTokers.
That last statement is very true.
Yeah, that's as maybe, but it's just some random TikToker that I don't have permission to play their video. And I don't know if I doubt Flat Earth Banjo sought permission.
But they don't unbend and unwarp space-time, the current...
Yes, random various other stuff that's not pitch data related. Shout out to Flat Earth Banjo for putting up Angel's video and his very concise description of what we are dealing with now with pitch data at the beginning of his video. So kudos for slapping it out there. I'm sure Brian will be delighted. I am delighted because it's nice to see that this absolutely exemplary argument, it's not even an argument, it's just a statement of fact, is getting out there. So there's a link to Flat Earth Banjo's video. Please let him know at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me with some positive, kind words. Not that anybody's going to be abusive to him, but there might be Globers listening that want to do this and decide that they're going to be abusive to Banjo, where they're normally saying, ha ha, Nathan's an idiot, he sent me, or something. I don't know whether or not Globers would actually follow my calls to action. Who knows? In any event, please let Banjo know that I've sent you. I'm sure he'll appreciate the like and subscribe that you also give him when you leave a comment and view his video. He's a flat earther like us, so he's definitely suppressed and will definitely appreciate your sub and your comment and your view. So if you are in the live stream now, there's just under 100 people watching. I think it's because I'm an hour late. There'll normally be over 100 people by now. Please share my show as well if you haven't done so already. 98 people watching. Please go and let Flat Earth Banjo know at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me with a nice little comment. Share the algorithmic love. Cool. That's about it for Flat Earth Banjo's video. As we were talking about it in the beginning of this particular live stream, the book that I wrote and has been torn to shreds and rewritten by about 16 other people is on its way. It should be reasonably soon that we're finishing off this book, having gone through about 6 drafts so far. And I'm going to start promoting it from this point, which is to say that I can see its form now, where previously it was just stress and things like that. But where previously, obviously, I'm just going to promote it, or had the intention to just promote it as, this is my book, please go out and buy it. You'll enjoy reading it. It's turned into something much, much bigger than that since the involvement of some very smart people. Brian's Logic, Quantum Eraser, Adam Meakin, the publisher himself, 10th Man, and a whole bunch of other people who have put in input, all Flat Earth Debate panel members who have basically been going through it and offering their editorial skills to make it a better book. So the quality of what's going to be contained within this book, not just in terms of the text and how it reads, but the citations that go along with the text and inside the text are second to none. There's no other way to put it. When it was me and the publisher gathering up citations, they weren't as good. They were still adequate, but they weren't as good. And when Adam and QE are going through the process of saying we can get this absolutely fine-tuned to the example with a really good name above the door like NASA or a university, then that's where we'll be looking for these citations, and they'll be listed in a glossary at the back. So it means that this book is going to be more of a reference book. That is to say that you could flick to the back third of the book and it's going to be nothing but citations, like of the highest standard there are, to make all of the arguments that we make on a daily basis. So while in years gone by we've talked about maybe forming a lexicon or gathering up some terms, some keywords, this is a bit like that, but with actual citations that are of a high standard to go with the arguments and a history of flat earth debate, housekeeping. All roads lead to a flat earth being the title of the book. So, as I say, it's not completely finished, and there have been little chunks that we're definitely going to be making it to the text that have been sort of scattered out there over the last 6 months. And over the next 2 months, let's just say, it's going to be polished up, buttoned up, and then stuck on whatever it's called, Amazon Books, for sale, along with an ability to buy a proper copy if you'd so desire. I don't know if people actually buy books anymore. Do people still buy hard copies of books?
Yes, they do.
Yes.
And let's get it right. It's going to be QE certified.
Funny you mentioned that, because I remember back a long time ago when we were first delving into the reading what had already been laid down. I remember saying to myself, let's look at this title, All Roads Lead to Flat Earth. And then I said, there should be a subtitle beneath it. Do you remember what I said the subtitle should be?
No. There's 100 people watching, so tell them.
All Roads Lead to Flat Earth, title, subtitle, The Ultimate Flat Earth Reference Book.
Yeah, and it is. I hope it doesn't end up with that subtitle. Because there's no point being modest with the thousands of hours that have been put into it. It is literally thousands of man hours cumulatively of people's work that have gone into this book. So making that sort of bold statement in the subtitle, the ultimate flat earth reference book, it will be.
Yep. That was before the edits, by the way.
Yeah, well,
Just
you knew what the task was ahead, and you made no bones about it. I'm like, it'll be easy. Yeah, but after about that time, I started shaving my head because I'd lost so much hair through the stress of it all. No, seriously, it is. It's stressful.
Make sure you send Wicked a hardcover, because that's all he reads.
Well, instead of hoping that people will read it and enjoy a good read about the process that we have all taken part in, and, you know, regular members of the show would have read the original draft and gone, yeah, I can relate to this. I understand the story of flat earth debate and housekeeping. And that was the original title of the book, right? It was originally called Housekeeping, and it would have been a discussion of that. But as a perfect example, pitch data, because we're still in the process of writing, and this is fate, will make it into the book, and thank God it will, because it's very, very important. Now, had it been published 6 months ago, it's like, well, do I write a second book just so I can have pitch data in there? Well, now that's not necessary. It will be part of the book. Yes, it does extend the time that it takes to write it, but it'll be in there, which is so awesome. I'm glad it's taken longer, if nothing else, because it means pitch data makes it into it.
Yep.
At the start of the process, so this shows you how long this book's been taken to write, it was pre-2024, because at that point, it wasn't even an argument when the book was first being written. It wasn't even an argument that we have roads leading to a flat earth because of the flat earth measurements. That wasn't a rhetoric that we utilised. Yes, it was obviously part and parcel of many arguments that we've had over the years, but it wasn't packaged up in the way that it has been through 2024 when the book was written. So in the first, 2 months of us rewriting it, that was incorporated where it wasn't in existence in the original draft. So now obviously that's been fully incorporated and it's completely changed the tone of the book. Hence the title change, All Roads Lead to a Flat Earth. But to polish that off, to top that off, the icing on the cake, the cherry on top, will be pitch data. I keep saying it's the chef's kiss in terms of arguments and data and quality. The standard is right up there. It doesn't get any better than official data from an airliner submitted to the NTSB. It does not get any better than that. That is the highest of standards. Can you think of a higher standard than that? I can't. It's like going to the feds in criminal terms. Right? It's the highest standard. It's nice to have a couple of silver bullets, though, isn't it? Elevation angles and navigation, pitch data, surveying, all of these things are silver bullets. Something people have been crying out for years in the flat earth arena. And up until recently, we've had them on offer, just not packaged up as nicely as they currently are. That will only continue, of course.
Your opponent will bring them for you.
One more time.
Your opponent will bring them to you.
One more time.
Your opponent will bring them to the argument for you.
Our opponent will bring us the argument for it. I don't understand.
They'll bring the bullets.
Yeah. Yeah, and now I understand the analogy. Yeah, the bullets get bought by our opponents. All of their argumentation requires flat earth planes of references to make their ball that they believe in. So yeah, they'll absolutely bring you the bullets. Quite a successful live show. I thought it would be alright balls up today with the Windows update taking out every single setting. Whereas it's actually functioned quite well considering I've had to change settings on the fly. Excellent stuff. Anything else we need to talk about while we're live? Talked about the book, covered Angel / Flat Earth Banjo. Any other pressing matters? No? With that, I'm going to say, if you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley premiering streams, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. Jolly good. So for all his moaning, where's Brian? Second day in a row, he's not even bothered coming on the live show and then just come in the after show to moan about how short it is. Indeed. Well, I'm glad you're all so chatty. This is obviously going to be a short after show.
Well, there's another video we could cover.
What's the video?
Where is Brian the Great? Is he here today?
It was funny listening to him leaning into me taking the mickey out of him saying he's wonderful. It's like he started off on QE's show by going, yeah, I've heard people talking about...
That?
Oh, my bad. Ideally in the gaps, Neil, as opposed to straight through the middle of me trying to keep the conversation going, because that kind of kills the conversation.
I'm sorry. I'm on a construction site. I was just saying, yeah, he said, can you prove that he's not great?
Yeah, exactly. He leaned right into it, didn't he? Which I thought was awesome. I was laughing. And that's the way to be,
yes.
Right? It's
like, yes, I can. Structural support.
Oh, Brian. He half tried to defend that a couple of weeks ago, do you remember?
Yeah, quite feebly.
You guys don't forget nothing.
That's why I was laughing. Oh, yeah? You want to have a moment of levity, do you? Want to big yourself up as the great I am? Oh, yeah. Yeah, nothing doesn't go unnoted here. Structural support. Got a big line through that one, Brian.
Hey, I was a big supporter of that.
Yeah, we know.
You can get away with that because there aren't any dumb nonsense statements that you'll pull out of the ether for you, are there?
No.
I'm sure there's plenty for me, plenty for Brian. Neil, it's nothing but those sorts of statements. I'm just kidding, Neil.
Can you imagine QE come up with that, or they crucify you?
Bit harsh, isn't it? Supposed to say crucifixion's a doddle. No, clearly not.
I'm sorry, were you talking to me?
Yeah, I'm talking to you.
You're making cross.
Yeah, Danny.
I'm in the middle of leveling a floor right now. That means I'm patching it so it's level, so the floor could be flat and level.
I thought you were driving across the USA or something. What happened to that?
You can multitask.
Yeah, but without headphones, I can't hear you.
Okay.
Sensual said he had a video on Master B, if you need to look.
Oh, yeah, he did, didn't he? It doesn't seem to be one, though.
Oh, it was just a little bit further up. I'll repost it if you want.
Okay, oh, no, it's okay.
And Nathan, you said you start at 9 o'clock because of Australians, right? What makes you believe Australia exists?
Someone asked me that. I was telling them about gas filling space, and they're like, "You're a flat earther? Do you think Australia's real?" Like, what kind of question's
Well,
that?
I'm literally asking you because I just found the video.
Oh, you saw that Omi video?
No. Kittens of the Still Flat Earth is the name of the channel, and it says Flat Earth and Why Australia Doesn't Exist. It may be AI, one of those AI bullshit videos, but I'll post it in a Skype.
No freaking way. So now they need AI to misrepresent what flat earthers believe by saying Australia doesn't exist, propping up that garbage.
Yep.
Wow. Wow.
Yep. That's the name
What
of the
world
game.
we live in. Okay, so debunking, does flat earth make sense? Is that the one?
No, the one I posted, that's the first one. That's somebody else posted. CS posted that. Mine is right after that. Well, mine, the one I just found. Flat Earth and Why Australia Doesn't Exist. It's the last video posted in Master B.
Gather round, curious cats and kittens, because things are about to get...
Yeah, it seems like there's this pattern of really low audio when it's AI produced. Has anybody else noticed this?
But sounds pretty good to me.
It sounds
but
fine. It's just quiet.
Get weird. We're diving into the wacky world of conspiracy theories, specifically the flat Earth theory. So, strap in, grab your tinfoil hats, and let's find out. Is the Earth flatter than a pancake left out in the rain? Picture this. You're sailing the open seas, fueled by the belief that the Earth is flat. The wind is in your sails, the sun is shining, and the horizon stretches endlessly before you. It's a journey filled with anticipation and mystery. Then on the horizon you see it.
Where's the Australia bit? You know?
I don't know, man. It's in the title. I can't tell you because I didn't watch the video.
I'm not saying I believe any of this, but it's fun to consider the possibilities. So the next time someone tells you they're from Australia, just smile knowingly and say, "Oh, really? And what's it like down there in not Australia?" Let's talk about gravity, or as flat earthers call it, the G word. In the flat earth there, I believe, seen to be believed. Now let's address the continent that may or may not exist, Australia. Some flat earthers believe Australia is as real as a unicorn riding a roller coaster. Think about it. Have you ever actually met anyone from Australia? And
What the hell? So just invent this straw man flat earther that doesn't exist as a stereotype. Some flat earthers. Name 5.
Maybe those Australians you've encountered are just actors, paid to maintain this elaborate charade. Or perhaps...
Ugh, right, I'm done with that. Okay, yeah, you've got to see it to believe it. If you can't beat us, straw man us with garbage arguments we don't make, I guess. What's this? Debunking flat earth theory. This is your one, isn't it, Liam? Sensual, you there?
Yeah. It's a good one.
Flat earthers have probably existed for thousands of years, but less of them exist now thanks to, well, science. Disclaimer, Earth...
My God. Less flat earthers exist because of science. Oh, where to begin? This is comedy gold, I can tell already. Should we cover this tomorrow? This is too good for an after show. Even though the guy's not exactly that big, he's only got a few thousand subscribers. I can tell straight away this is comedy gold. This is worthy of a live show. Unlike that AI Australia doesn't exist garbage. What the hell was that? Yeah, we'll cover that tomorrow. That'll look good. Good in a bad, bad in a good, you know what I mean, way. And hopefully we'll have some more enthusiasm tomorrow. Like everyone will be a bit more awake.
Come on, everyone, wake up.
It's kind of hypocritical for me to say everyone should be waking up and fully focused when I pretty much rolled out of bed about an hour before now. You know, just before the live show. I blame the computer. It really is dead, though. That is that 5 seconds I'd normally round out on.
Yeah, I got business to take care of. Darn wife took off.
The wife took off?
She took off for a good part of the day, so without telling me.
Oh, I thought you meant she'd left you.
Why would any woman do that?
Any woman in history or any woman with you?
Any woman with me.
I can think of a number of reasons.
You can, huh?
Yes. I'm sure you're not like that with your women. Plural.
Yeah, so what's gonna happen here?
I'm not giving you a ticket.
You're not giving me a ticket for what?
No, you don't smell of alcohol either. You can go on your way.
What the hell? Oh, you pulled me over.
That's how you address me. It's like, what's happening here, officer? What's next? Am I getting a ticket or not?
Yeah. So, are we still live?
You won't get a ticket if you're listening to Nathan Oakley show.
Are we still live? Shut up. Are we still? You bet. And by the way, Neil, you got to do something with your mic. A lot of people are complaining to me. I already knew that they would because you're ruining the show.
Is this is news? This is something new. When did this happen?
Hold on. I listened to that whole show this morning, and when you say stop, I stop. So, are you going to take my back, or are you going to sell me out?
What the hell are you talking about?
I don't know. His mic was all crap. I couldn't really hear what he was saying.
So, we still live? Are you going to do something else or what? Are we going to the after show, the 10-second after show or what?
This is the 10-second after show. Now, I would have rounded out in the last 5 to 6 second gap that we had without any conversation, but given that we've only been recording for an hour and 40, it seems a bit unreasonable. It's not good value if it's under 2 hours.
I gotta go make my own breakfast, so.
Oh, that's heartbreaking.
It is heartbreaking.
Now I understand why you're telling us that the wife's not around.
Yeah, so I have to get up, right, away from the mic, and go do admin things. You know those types of things. And it's a shooting day.
I see. Well, Adam's not around till tomorrow to write the book. By write the book, I mean quite literally type the words of the book into the page.
Sure. He's the stenographer. Did he messaged you back?
No, but he's doing something today, and you've suggested that he might be free tomorrow, which is fine. That's good enough for me. You've passed on the information.
No, I'm doing something today. How do you know he's doing something today?
I don't. I'll drop him a line once we've rounded out this show.
I already did, and it was a little nasty. It wasn't too nasty, but I reminded him about his promise. He said, "I'll do it unless I forget." That was his last words.
He might have forgotten.
It's unacceptable.
But he did put that disclaimer in, didn't he? So it is totally reasonable.
He did. It's not totally reasonable at all. Maybe for you English, not for me. If you tell me you're going to do something, you fucking better do it.
But yeah, weasel words. I will do it unless I don't.
Yeah, unless he doesn't. That's weaseling out. He's going to be held to task.
Yeah, it's a skill and an art form, leaving the person that's asking you to do something with weasel words that mean that you don't have to. Very, very, very difficult skill to acquire.
Yeah. He just needs to be taken through a set of grass drills one time, and that bullshit about not doing something that he tells him he's going to do, that'll end.
I'm sure he wouldn't have told you he was going to do it if he had no intention of not doing it. If he had any intention of not doing it, he'd have disclaimed that.
There's no consequences here is the problem. I'm going to start putting consequences in.
Well, there are consequences, which is why I was the purpose of writing a book in the first place was to generate an extra revenue stream for me, because I'm super poor. So one of the pressures initially was to get it done because I was super poor. Now, over the course of the last few months, nothing's really changed in that regard. But rushing a book out because you need it as a revenue stream doesn't seem like a great idea. In other words, stomach the poverty, get it right, and then it potentially could generate sales for the rest of my natural born life, couldn't it? It'll be a throwaway garbage book if it's not what it will end up being. I think it's worth the extra time. So while you're saying there's no discipline, well, yeah, there was originally an incentive for me initially to get it done quickly. Not that it has at any stage been quick to do. But I'm more chilled with the idea of everyone doing it in a very relaxed way at their leisure so that it's done well with everyone's enthusiasm. If it's done with pressure from me to get it done, then that will lower the standards, I feel. It can't not, can it?
The hell are you on about?
I start pressuring Adam. Well, when are you going to do it? You're going to do it tomorrow. It's like he's giving his time freely and willingly.
You don't have to worry about pressuring Adam. I'll do the pressuring.
Well, don't pressure him too much. I want him on side.
He's a big boy. He can take it. And if he can't, well, he wasn't cut out for it to begin with.
He's been throwing his dummy out of the pram a little bit more than often recently. Have you not noticed? First he told me off, then he told you off last night.
I'll tell you what. It's going to come to friggin' cases.
What is?
What do you mean, what is?
What? Yeah, what's going to come?
It's gonna come to a head.
What's it?
His insubordinate attitude.
He's one of the principals. He's a superior.
He's not above it.
Who's he being insubordinate to?
I don't know, but I'll make something up.
I was going to say, careful with your words here. I can be guilty of insubordination. I know my place. So can you, Neil.
Can you keep this going without me? Because I got to go make some breakfast.
Nah, I'm going to round out the moment the conversation dries up.
And then you're going to leave? That's it?
I'm not going to leave. I'm going to faff with the computer because it needs more attention. Attention that I've only figured out it needed since starting the recording, which is always unfortunate when things need restarts and stuff. But I'll attend to that, which will probably chew up the rest of my day, if I'm honest.
Now, Omi?
No, I haven't got any intentions to do that. And you about to go out swimming, hun? My wife's disappearing, so I've got to attend to my youngest daughter while the oldest goes swimming. So,
gotcha.
Because I've pushed the time forward an hour later, so when you're looking at the clock going, oh my God, only an hour and 50 minutes of after show. Well, yeah, we started late. Good job we did have a really keen host that really wanted to get the show out live, and made absolutely sure that it did function. And it has. I mean, it might only be an hour and 50 minutes, but fully functional show. No craziness. It did actually work. I'd rather it was boring and functional than non-existent.
I'll get to the point. I'm going to go make some breakfast. So you either leave, I come back here, you're either here, you're not.
I won't be. With that, I'll say another huge, massive, enormous thank you to both Discord and G Plus panels for making today's after show possible. And of course, a massive thank you to all of you for liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, joining as a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member, hitting me up on Ko-Fi and PayPal and all that good stuff. I've been Nathan Oakley and I will see you all in the next video.